Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Alan W. Sugarman Sports Complex here in Fort Lee, New Jersey. The setting for today's boys soccer action in the Big North American Division between the visiting Scarlets of Ridgefield Park, 0-3 on the season, taking on the Fort Lee Bridgemen, 1-2, and looking for their first home victory of the 2022 season. Hello, everyone. I'm Dan Long, joined alongside by my producer, Dimitri Nanis, and our camera operator, Mike Ricciappi. So glad that you could join us for another edition of Fort Lee Bridgemen Soccer. So the first two instances of these boys soccer games here at home, two hard-fought games for the Bridgemen, but they've come up short on both times. They lost in their season opener back on September 8th against the Paramus Catholic Paladins 2-1, and then had a heartbreaking defeat last time out against league rival Dwight Morrow. They lost with 1 second remaining in double overtime and fell by a final score of 2-1 against Dwight Morrow. They have had some time to collect their thoughts and try to bounce back after that. A couple days off, and now this is their first foray into the season since that heartbreaking loss, and they're thrown right back into the mix of a Big North American Division showdown, as this time they're going to be taking on Ridgefield Park. The Scarlets coming to this game winless on the season. They've had some hard-fought affairs as well. They lost in their opening day against Dwight Morrow 3-2, then dropped another league game 6-4 against Cliffside Park. Most recently, they played on the 17th and lost on the road at Mawa by another one-goal margin, this time at 2-1. So the Scarlets are going to be trying to come here to Fort Lee, and also in the process, fans, they are trying to snap a long, sustained losing streak in this series against Fort Lee. To tell you how long it's been, Ridgefield Park has lost their last 17 consecutive games to Fort Lee. The last time that the Scarlets defeated the Bridgemen, you have to go all the way back to September 15th of 2012, when it was a 3-2 win in Ridgefield Park. So, to say the least, Fort Lee has had the Scarlets' numbers. But Brian Haynes, the head coach, he believes that he has the team this year to break that losing streak and get their first win of the season. Demba Main is getting his team set. He collected most recently his 100th career victory as the head coach at his alma mater, and he is looking for win number 101 today as the officials talk things over in the instructions with both teams prior to today's opening kickoff. Fort Lee is going to be in their home black kits with a gray stripe across the middle of the chest, while Ridgefield Park is wearing their road white uniforms with a red numeral. Again, as we mentioned, Brian Haynes is the head coach for Ridgefield Park, while Demba Main is the head coach for Fort Lee. Fort Lee is 1-1 in league play this year. They won 3-0 on the road at Dumont before dropping that double overtime defeat against Dwight Morrow in their last game on the 15th. Ridgefield Park 0-2 in league play. Dwight Morrow sitting atop the Big North American Division standings with a perfect 2-0 mark. Cliffside Park behind them at 1-0. Fort Lee 1-1, Dumont 0-1. Getting the start in goal today for Fort Lee is going to be Benjamin Thomas, the junior. He had 3 saves in a game against Ridgefield Park a season ago. He's looking for his first win of the season. His last time out, he had played in that season opener against Paramus Catholic. And we'll expect to see Samir Varela or Joseph O'Neill as the starting goalies here for Ridgefield Park. Varela has gone 0-2 in 2 appearances this year. Joseph O'Neill has started 1 contest. Varela right now looks to be the starting keeper as he's wearing number 1 in the neon pink jersey. So how does Fort Lee bounce back? In that game against Dwight Morrow, it was a nip-tuck affair until it really got crazy with 5 minutes left to go in regulation. With about 5 minutes left to go, Dwight Morrow struck for the first goal of the contest. That gave them that initial 1-0 lead. It looked like it was going to be enough for them to salt away a consecutive 1-0 victory as they did a season ago here on the road. But then a penalty kick was granted and given to Fort Lee with 6 seconds remaining on the clock. That penalty kick was converted by Enzo Yu, who is the leading goal scorer this season for Fort Lee. He cashed it in. He forced overtime with no time remaining on the clock. That sent us to overtime. We saw Fort Lee hit the crossbar in what could have been a potential walk-off win for the Bridgemen. And then when it looked like it was going to end as a 1-1 tie, then Dwight Morrow had a crosser from the far side and a one-time finish in front of the net that Alton Tafilaj had no chance of stopping, and in dramatic fashion, Fort Lee lost with the second remaining before it would have been a tie. So now they have to wash that game, they have to flush it, and have to bounce back here against Ridgefield Park and try to continue this long stretch of dominance that stretches 10 years, over the course of 10 years of wins against Ridgefield Park, as we are underway here from the Sugarman Sports Complex. Thanks for joining us on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Played over to the far side wing, that'll go out of bounds last touch, and it'll be a throw-in for Ryan Steer. Enzo Yu was knocked down as he's trying to win back possession. It's going to be a free kick upcoming now for the Bridgemen. Ridgefield Park, no strangers to finding the back of the net. They've scored 7 goals in 3 games this season, averaging 2.3 goals per contest. Where they've been victimized more is on the defensive end. They have allowed 11 goals for the first 3 games of their season. Only allowed 2 goals in their last fixture. That was a 2-1 defeat at the hands of the Mahwah Thunderbirds. Played forward to Kito Shinoda. Shinoda over to the near right side. That went to Alessandro Caradazzolo. Fort Lee trying to get to an early start in this one. Left to the top of the box. Here's an opportunity. Trying to drag it over that last defender. And that was probably be a better opportunity to get a shot opportunity. Caradazzolo tries to win back possession for Fort Lee, as Ridgefield Park will win it over to the near side, and now the Scarlets will try to bring it up the field. Good pressure in the early goings here offensively by Fort Lee. Played over to the far side, go the Bridgemen, trying to build up possession and get some shot opportunities. They weren't as aggressive at the beginning of their game last time against Dwight Morrow, as that's deflected, saved from going out of bounds. That would have resulted in a corner kick and is sent wide to the far side. Headed away and last touch off of the Bridgemen of Fort Lee. We saw the adjustments that were made after halftime in the last game. Fort Lee came out like a team possessed to start the second half with more shot opportunities, even if they weren't on target. Trying to play it forward, and now playing it back is Killian Connors. Here's Connors right now, number 2, a junior. Playing it backwards to Oscar Escobar, number 20. Shinoda trying to win back the ball as he goes against Venereo. Fort Lee winning the possession over to the near side, Naoki Dartley. A lot of contact, we play on. Fitted over to Reyes. Nicholas Reyes now, sophomore, had an assist in their loss against Dwight Morrow in their season opener. Pops straight up in the air. Possession garnered by Ridgefield Park, played now to the midfield. Hassan Ibrahim, number 10, playing it forward. Now trying to get it to the feet of Patrick Santiago. Here's the dangerous striker for Ridgefield Park. Santiago, like Enzo Yu, 4 goals already on the season for number 4 in white. He had a hat trick against Cliffside Park in that 6-4 defeat for the Scarlets. Here's Santiago again. A dynamo on the ball. Just could not keep it in bounds, though, as that'll go out of bounds. And Coach Demba Main going to his bench early for a substitution. Less than 5 minutes into the course of play. Will be a throw-in taken to the near side by Gordon Chang, the freshman. Throws it down the near side to the feet of Connors, who brings it back the other way. Venereo knocked off the ball, but again, last touch off of Gordon Chang. Fort Lee has scored 5 goals in their first 3 games of the season. They have allowed 4 goals. Both of their losses have come here at home. Their lone win, a 3-0 victory on the road at Dumont. They have yet to hold a lead in any of those 2 home games here. They have fallen behind and in both instances have rallied, but then have surrendered the eventual deciding goal. In the season opener against Paramus Catholic, they gave up the go-ahead goal in the second half, lost in regulation, and then obviously lost in double overtime in their last time against Dwight Morrow. Good possession, but then skewered away by Ibrahim. Randy Marroquin sending that one long as Dartley tries to run underneath it. Being shielded away from the ball by Oscar Escobar. Escobar with 2 goals on the season, had goals against both Cliffside Park and Dwight Morrow this season, as he will set up the goal kick for his keeper. Samir Varela, 0-2 on the season, 17 saves in his appearances this year, coming off a 9-save performance in the 2-1 defeat against Mawa. Long ball, looped down the near sideline as Dartley was trying to run underneath it, but again, a little too long for him. Fort Lee swept both meetings in the 2021 season. They won 3-2 on the road at Ridgefield Park and then produced a shutout, a lopsided 5-0 victory here at the Sugarman Sports Complex a season ago against Ridgefield Park. Ryan Steer now with it to the far side, playing it to that far side wing. Centering ball, knocked away. Santiago getting a touch of it to the far side now to Nicholas Ortiz. Ortiz looking for Santiago in the box. He's the dangerous man to watch. Tries a backheel attempt at a blind pass. Deflected up top by Dylan Muhammad. Here's a shot from distance and knocked away with 2 hands and making the save. Save made by Benjamin Thomas, his first save of the afternoon for Fort Lee. First corner kick opportunity now for Ridgefield Park. Just over 6 minutes into the start of the first half. That pass kept on the ground the whole time. Sent right back into the box here. It's lurking inside for Santiago. Good sweeping tackle attempt. They're executed by Fort Lee's back line. A lot of dangerous opportunities presenting themselves right now for the Scarlets, who continue to win back possession in the defensive third of the field for Fort Lee. Played along to the far side to Ortiz. Ortiz with the centering ball, getting it to the feet of Santiago. Tries to back down to the defender. That was trying to find a man open to the near side. He's still open. Had the shot opportunity and passed it up for a pass. Kind of surprised there. Ridgefield Park playing their best soccer right now of this game, as they've been holding on to this possession for a long period of time. Fort Lee struggling getting out of its own end, and they will play it out of bounds. It'll be a last touch off of Ridgefield Park. We'll go out for a goal kick. Thomas, a junior, in goal. Had 5 saves while allowing 2 goals in the season opening loss against Paramus Catholic. 42 saves last season as a sophomore. He and Alton Tafalage have been splitting time throughout the season. Each goalie now having started 2 games this year. Another turnover, and Santiago weaving his way through left the ball behind. Fort Lee struggling to get possession and offense. Once they do, Caden Chan's pass was intercepted as he was trying to link up with Dartley. Good anticipation, comes all the way out to the midfield. Here's Enzo Yu with a numbers opportunity, but he kind of stepped on the ball himself. Good aggressive defending by Escobar. Wins back possession. Goes back to Escobar again. He goes for the long ball behind the back line, but the offside flag is up by the official on the near side as they were trying to link up with Brandon Venereo, the sophomore forward, who was trying to time his run to maybe get a breakaway opportunity, 1v1 with the keeper. You know, Thomas is known for his aggressive goaltending style, even more so than Tafalage. Ball taken away. Fort Lee looking for an opening. Yu was just trying to flick it forward, but couldn't time it enough as Escobar got a piece of it. Caroms out to Brandon Argueta, freshman defender to the far side. As we are coming up on the first 10 minutes of play, having gone by here in a scoreless start to this game here in the first half. Thanks for watching Fort Lee Boys Soccer here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Your broadcast home throughout this entire fall season for the boys and girls soccer programs, as well as girls volleyball action. And all the home sporting events will be your broadcast home live and then anytime afterwards on demand and for free. The ball's played up top as number 9, Caden Chan, was trying to race underneath it. Chan, a season ago, had an assist in one of the 2 games against Ridgefield Park. Chan with 1 assist so far to start this season. The story has been the play of number 10 in black, Enzo Yu. 4 goals and 8 points. Kick as Yu is on the ball right now. Yeah, the successful penalty kick with no time remaining in regulation to send that game against White Morrow into eventual overtime. Mariquin. Played it up top for Dartley. Connors defending. Over to the near side. Goes Chang. Chang with the left foot. Tries to send that one long to the far side. Not able. Here's Chan. Playing the service over to Dartley. Dartley back to Chan to the top of the box. He left it behind and it gets cleared away by Ridgefield Park. Shinoda playing it backwards now to Steer. That'll go out of bounds for a Fort Lee throw-in. Down that far side wing, just a little too long for Caratazzolo, and that'll go out of bounds for a goal kick. Before surrendering the final 2 goals of the game to lose 2-1 on September 17th. Chang playing it forward. Yu trying to race down underneath it. Here's a shot opportunity, but coming back to slide it back to his keeper just in time. Good defensive play there by Escobar as Enzo Yu was trying to Fort Lee. Ridgefield Park a season ago went 3-11-1 in 2021. They finished 4th in the Big North American Division with a 2-6 league record. Was draped all alongside him. It'll be a foul whistled against Fort Lee, so it's going to be a free kick upcoming now for Ridgefield Park. At an assist against Cliffside Park will handle the free kick at midfield. Low line and kick sent a little bit of miscommunication between the keeper, Benjamin Thomas, and his back line, with the closest man there being Ryan Steer. Time for Samir Varela to get to it. On the near side, cleared away out of harm's way by Gordon Chang. Throw in for Ridgefield Park. Getting it to Santiago with played up to Downs. He earns a throw in here. Park. Shinoda could not get to it. Get underneath it. Looks like they do with Park. Here's Park dribbling to the top of the box. Great positional defense, though. Bodied up Enzo Yu. They've had better possession here in the midfield, just have not been able to. Chan. Chan showing off the fancy footwork, trying to leave that one back. Good job of getting a piece of it. Now playing it forward. Just over 23 minutes left to go in a scoreless first half in this Big North American Division showdown. Park looking for their first win against the Bridgmen since way back in September of 2012, 10 years ago. The ball spotted around the 39-yard line. Trying to get a shot on goal here for the Bridgmen. Low volley is skewered away to the far side outside the box by the Ridgefield Park defense. Fort Lee has only scored one goal in each of their first two games here at home. They scored one in the second half in the 2-1 loss against Paramus Catholic, one with a penalty kick just before the end of regulation in the 2-1 double overtime loss against Dwight Morrow. Turning and firing is Chan, and that just missed as he was trying to aim for that near side post. Measuring it up all the way was Samir Varela. And that'll go out for another Ridgefield Park goal kick. As we're approaching the midway points of our first half of play. Nice give and go from Chan to you. Now back to Chan. Chan thinking about what he wants to do. Tried a slow roller that was cleared out of harm's way by a defender right in front of his own goal. Caratazzolo. Good ball there. Just could not get it to the player who was jumping right in front of the net. That was great service, though. That was a centering pass from the far side to the near side as Jiha Park was the man trying to be the recipient on the other end, of that aerial pass. Caratazzolo wins back the ball again. Here's Chan. Getting it up top. Good build up here for the Bridgemen. They play it over to the near side to Park. Park trying to be bodied off the ball. Goes out of bounds to the near side. And will be a throw-in here for Ridgefield Park. Connors. Pass is too short. Chang anticipates, clears it down the other way. Park was trying to get it on the line to Enzo Yu. Could not get it to him in time. Now into the midfield it goes, and now here comes the counterattack. Good ball, just a little behind, though, as Ortiz had to shift to it. There's a shot on the run by Muhammad, and a nice save made by Benjamin Thomas, right in the middle of the penalty box. Played up top to Enzo Yu, chested down, turns and fires and scores! What a brilliant finish by Enzo Yu! And Fort Lee is on the board, and for the first time this season, have taken a lead here at home. So Enzo Yu now with his 5th goal of the season. He has scored in every game so far this season for Coach Demba Main and the Fort Lee Bridgemen. He gets Fort Lee the lead as we come up on the midway point of this first half. What a beautiful finish by Enzo Yu, the senior number 10, who subs off for a breather as well. He just got it chested down right outside the box, knew exactly where he was, turned and fired, and hit the upper 90 in the upper left-hand corner for first goal of the day. So Fort Lee on the board and take a 1-0 lead in this big North American Division game against Ridgefield Park. Couple of big saves in this first half by Benjamin Thomas prevented Ridgefield Park from garnering the initial lead of this game. And now that first real shot on target by Fort Lee finds the back of the net. Five goals. What a blistering start to the season for Enzo Yu. In our first broadcast, we're wondering who was going to replace the goal scoring of Timofey Strelli from a season ago when Strelli led all of Bergen County with 20 tallies on the season. Well, Enzo Yu has emerged as that goal scoring option for this team. As that goes out of bounds to the near sideline. Yu has 5 of Fort Lee's 6 total goals on the season. The only other goal scorer is number 11, Jinha Park. Now Ridgefield Park has to play from behind. Again, in the last game, they actually raced out to an early lead, then saw Mawa score the final 2 goals of the game to win 2-1. So Ridgefield Park team that can score, though. One may not be enough as Chan now racing with it to the far side. Curling ball inside. Great delivery again. Fort Lee being very good with their deliveries and being creative with the passes as Park was lurking right in front of the goal mouth again to try to get an opportunity to maybe head that one home. Fort Lee looking to double their pleasure here. The midway point of the first half of play. 1-0 the lead. The 5th goal of the season by Enzo Yu. Steer will race after it. Santiago chasing in after him, and Steer will just clear it to the far sideline. That'll go out of bounds for a Ridgefield Park throw-in. Santiago popping it straight in the air. Trying to have his teammate get underneath it, and he does. But not enough for a shot opportunity. Comes all the way out to Park. Park getting it up to Chang. Chang trying to win back the possession. Stolen away by Reyes. Reyes dribbling against a pair of different defenders, and he gets free. Jordy Focarodi, number 14, in black and orange, trying to race down that possession. Play it over to the far side. Ortiz. Backheeled. Deflected as it was trying to be cleared out of bounds. It'll be last touch off of Ridgefield Park. Will be a throw-in now for Fort Lee around their own sideline. You can see 16:40 left to go here in this first half of play for the first time this season at home at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Fort Lee in the lead. They never led in their first 2 home games of the season. Just another exquisite day weather-wise here for Fort Lee boys soccer. We've been lucky that we've had some outstanding weather days here for home games. 78 degrees and sunny at the opening kickoff here this afternoon. "16 minutes remaining here in the first half as both teams go to their bench, bring on some fresh legs. Played over to the far sideline by Fort Lee. Granazzolo playing it forward. Bridgman doing a good job. The gradual build-up to the near side. It goes to Chang. Chang's pass is deflected out of bounds by Angel Velakis, sophomore. Now in the box. Enzo Yu back into the game. Had that one. Pinball and deflect off a defender. Nearly found its way, snuck into the near side post. That'll go out in this game. He's already had 1 game of 2 goals already this year in that 3-0 win against Mazzo, leaving him back for his teammate. Now back to him to the near side angle at the top of the box. Low-footed left. Nice move in the far side. Again, they were trying to send that one airborne, but got that one deflected right back at them. Hey, just yet. Shinoda getting it over to the far side. Focarodi. Now to Dartley. 1-2. Getting back to Dartley in the far side. Will he try to get this one airborne? Low liner. It's dangerous in the box. Mishit a bit. Enzo Yu trying to back down his defender and headed forward at the same time. Just couldn't sync that up properly. Good work here by the Bridgemen, though. They've been dominating possession even since they scored that first goal of the game. Granazzolo doing a nice move there, just getting a piece of it. He's getting pushed from behind, still on the ball. The outer vestiges of the box. Inside the box, here's Enzo Yu. He has the 1 goal in this game, getting it played back up top to Chang. Chang, good ball on the far side, shoulder down. And it caroms out to space on the far side to Ortiz. So Fort by Ridgefield Park, as it looks like it's going to be more subs coming on into the field for the Bridgemen of Fort Lee. Trying to get back to 500 on the season, looking for their 2nd win of the year and 2nd in divisional play. These 2 sides will meet again in Ridgefield Park on October 11th. Mariquin. Over to Chang. Chang looking to go down the near side alley. Played back up top, Shinoda. Nice job of tipping it forward to himself. Now to Fokarodi. Dartley betrayed by his own touch there, as it was too strong, goes out of bounds to the far side with now approaching 12 minutes remaining in our first half of play. The home-sided Bridgman of Fort Lee on top of Ridgefield Park here right now, 1-0. And a goal scored just around the midway point of the first half on a beautiful turn and fire by Enzo Yu. Yu with his 5th goal this season. He has scored at least 1 goal in every one of the 4 games this season for Fort Lee. As the Bridgemen trying to bounce back after a heartbreaking loss in their last game, as seen here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel against Dwight Morrow. Trying to go to 2-1 in divisional play. There's a foul as Corradozolo was upended on the play. It's going to be a free kick upcoming for Fort Lee. Free kick's going to be handled by Randy Mariquin, who had an assist against Ridgefield Park a season ago in the 2 games. Trying to go far post, had a man inside the box, but a little too tall for him on his header attempt. That was pinpoint service yet again by Fort Lee. As we've been seeing, these crossers in the air have really been frustrating for the defense of Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee's just got to continually go to that book, continue to send service up in the air, and there have been players unmarked inside the box. And so you putting the pressure on the back line, trying to win back the ball, but that went out of bounds off of him last as he was trying to force the turnover off of the foot of Killian Connors. As we close in on the final 10 minutes of the first half, Ridgefield Park still in pursuit of their first win of this 2022 season. They got off to a later start. A couple games were postponed, and then they finally opened up their season on September 14th, while Fort Lee had a couple of days advantage on them, starting off their season on September 8th. The Scarlets, after this one, will continue their 2-game road trip as they will travel to another league rival in Dumont. Dangerously bouncing its way to Thomas, who took his time before collecting that one right in front of him. So Ridgefield Park will have played every team in the American Division already when they're done with their game against Dumont on Thursday. Fort Lee still has to play Cliffside Park for the first time this year. That'll be coming up on September 28th next week on the road at Cliffside Park. Then Fort Lee will have gone through the first round of playing every one of their league opponents at least once. I want to get a result here, certainly, with this game being at home. They've let their last home fixture get away from them, but you wanted to defend home fields and home turf and do your best when on the road where it's a little more difficult to play. The throw in at the feet of Jose Montoya. Montoya, senior, who had a goal against Dwight Morrow back on September 14th. Now Ibrahim in the midfield, tracked down from behind by Dartley. Dartley playing it forward. That was to Thomas Kim, number 15. And Kim was the man who was lurking on that Mariquin service. There's a turnover forced by Dartley. Tried to slide it over to Enzo Yu, and that was maybe a goal-saving tackle made in the back line by Ridgefield Park. Doesn't get that foot in the front there, and that pass links up with Enzo Yu. He's going 1v1 with a wide-open net. Played inside the box, chipped forward, last touch deflected. And it's going to be deflected last touch off of the defense of Fort Lee. That's going to be a corner kick upcoming now for Ridgefield Park as they look for the equalizing goal late here in the first half of play as we're coming up on the final 7.5 minutes. Hassan Ibrahim, the senior, will be the man setting up the ball on the far side corner flag. Low lining service, again, mishit. Allows Caradazola to clear it out to space. Now Enzo Yu gets underneath it. It's a 2-on-2 break, but he just can't slip it by. Outstanding defending there by Orlando Perez. That saved another would-be breakaway chance for Fort Lee. Richmond just missing by inches with these outlet passes. Here's Enzo Yu at the midfield. Reversing into Caradazola over to the far side wing. Alessandro sliding that upwards now to Enzo Yu, and just could not get that last touch of it before it went out of bounds. That'll go out for a goal kick. With 6.5 minutes left to go before halftime. Enzo Yu had great anticipation on that last sprint up the midfield. But again, when he had just to find a way to get it past that last defender to get it to the feet of his teammate Dartley, who would have been streaking all by his lonesome down the near side, just couldn't get it right past the dogged defending of Orlando Perez. Shinoda shouldered off the ball. Good play there by Montoya. Here's Reyes. No one picking him up. Reyes trying to feed the service to Santiago. Haven't gotten into their star goal scorer yet. Here's Caden Chan. No one stopping him. Chan 1-9 was Varela. Good anticipation there by the junior goalie. Portly getting closer and closer to getting a little insurance here with the second goal of the game. For Ridgefield Park, and you can get into halftime down by only one, you'd have to feel like that's a little bit of a win here today. Fort Lee has really been flying ever since that goal by Enzo Yu. They draw the contact, and it's going to be a free kick upcoming. And will there be more to free kick? No. We've seen a couple of great balls being delivered into the box here today by Fort Lee. Can they get it high enough over the two-man wall here to make some trouble for the backline defense, Ridgefield Park? They do just that, into the box, punched away forward by Varela. He was trying to say he was being interfered with as well, but we play on, no whistle. To the far side, Fort Lee colliding there. Samuel Choi, the sophomore defender, getting it up forward. Good possession won here by Fort Lee as they patiently bring it up to the midfield. 4:15 and counting left to go in our first half. Connors over to the near side, knocked down. Played back to Connors, who mishits that one and jettisons that one into the stands just in front of us here in the press box at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, Mike Richapi, glad that he could join the three of us here. Broadcasting all the sights and sounds for you all fans to enjoy for free on the YouTube channel run by the Fort Lee Athletic Department. Throw in as they were trying to get it to the feet of Thomas Kim. Ball loose, knocked off the backside of Daniel Lee. Now to the top of the box, and just had an opportunity there, just could not get to it. Under 3.5 minutes now left to go in the first half. Fort Lee is starting to pounce on the possession of the offense, but Ridgefield Park only one goal away from drawing even. They set it wide to the near side. Velakis stood up by Cheng. Tries to go down the near side, mishits that one. Last touch off of Ridgefield Park. And that'll be a goal kick upcoming for Benjamin Thomas and Fort Lee. Played over to the far side, Ryan Steer. Enzo Yu tracking back all the way in his defensive third to try to get a touch of the possession. Yu wins back the ball. Here's Caden Chan. Now to Lee. Lee bodied off the ball. Good pursuits for the possession by Reyes. There's Enzo Yu again, aggressively playing from the back. Here's a long ball. Steer underneath it. He'll play it back to his own keeper, and Thomas will send that one skyward over to the far side. Ibrahim tries to get to it. Ball left behind for Caden Chan. Chan trying to get it around one of the defenders, can't. Last touch out of bounds off the far side by the foot of Choi. 2 minutes now left to go here in the first half. As that goes out of bounds, last touch off of Ridgefield Park. It'll be a throw-in now for the Bridgemen. So Fort Lee has had the majority of the possession in this first half, have had the shot opportunities created as well recently, but have only one goal to speak of. That's enough right now as they lead 1-0. Again, it was a 5-0 win in this matchup here last season between these two sides. Over to the near side it goes. Fort Lee still with the possession with Daniel Lee, but he was trying to tiptoe his way down the near side, but in doing so stepped out of bounds with the possession, so the junior will turn it over. Referee on the far side electing Connors to come all the way back from inside the 15-yard line for the throw-in. Long ball, it's a good one there for Ridgefield Park. Muhammad trying to race around and nearly got to it. Muhammad had one of those clear shot opportunities early on in this half for Ridgefield Park that forced Thomas to make a save. I believe Thomas probably credited with about 2 saves in this first half. Nothing really to speak of for the last 15 minutes or so for Ridgefield Park. It's been all possession and all opportunities for Fort Lee, yet they only still lead by 1. That was a goal by Enzo Yu in the 20th minute. Trying to fight for the possession was Benjamin Kang, number 16. 20 seconds now left to go in the first half before that buzzer sounds to end the first 40 minutes of play. Fort Lee will just clear it down the middle of the field with coming up 5 seconds left to go. One last attempt up the field. Here's Chan. 2 seconds. Can he get a shot off? He can't. And that will end the first half of play. And for the first time this season, here at home, Fort Lee will enjoy a halftime lead as they will take a 1-0 lead with them into halftime here against Ridgefield Park. Stick around as we'll be back for the start of the second half of play as you're watching Fort Lee boys soccer action here on the Fort Lee YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody, inside the Dr. Alan W. Sugarman Sports Complex as we're moments away from the resumption of play and the start of the second half. Fort Lee 1/2 away from securing their first win here at home in this brand new 2022 season as an Enzo U goal in the 20th minute has staked the Bridgmen out to a 1-0 lead over league rival Ridgefield Park. In their first two home games of the season, Fort Lee gave up their first goal of the game to both teams, to both Paramus Catholic and to Dwight Morrow, and had to try to claw their way back from behind and did not do that in each contest. So now the Bridgmen have an opportunity here, but with the way that Santiago and a couple of the attackers up top for Ridgefield Park are dangerous, you don't have the feeling that maybe one goal is going to be enough here for Denver Main side, as they're going to be trying to, again, find their way home to their first home win of this season. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, Mike Richapi with you on this broadcast presented by the Fort Lee Athletics Department. I'd like to thank everybody who's tuning in to support these student athletes from both fine schools. First of two regular season meetings, Fort Lee trying to continue their run of dominance in this series. They have won 17 straight games against Ridgefield Park, dating back to their last loss, September 15th, 2012. Fort Lee in the black, Ridgefield Park defending in the white. Caden Chan trying to start off quickly, and Enzo U was leaving that behind, but left it around to no one. Played over now to the near side for the Bridgmen. Play it up top, as that is cleared out of harm's way off of Ridgefield Park. Last, it's going to be a throw-in here for Fort Lee. Dartley maneuvering with it. Radazzolo was leaving backwards. Now Ridgefield Park trying to find some space themselves. Ridgefield Park has not been shut out in any game so far this season. They've scored 7 goals over the course of their first 3 games. There's a good ball right in the middle, chipping that one just wide of the mark. Caden Chan had the service on a line to Dartley. Dartley was trying to get a flick of it. Last touched out of bounds. I'm going to say that that was off of Ridgefield Park last, or Fort Lee. Fort Lee was maneuvering like they had earned a corner. Instead, I'm going to say last touch off of the Bridgmen, so it's going to go out for a goal kick. Ridgefield Park after this game, as I mentioned earlier, will travel to Dumont in their next game before coming home for back-to-back contests against Pascack Hills and Bergenfield. Steer sends that forward. Enzo U heads it up top as Caden Chen tried to get to it, but Killian Connors got to it first. A nice, comfortable, cloudy day in the 70s. Okarodi playing it backwards. Radazzolo over to the near side. Tries to step forward with it. Draws a double team that erases his possession. Okarodi getting his feet on it. Out to the midfield. Steer stepping up. Trying to contend with Patrick Santiago. Santiago with the ball down the near side and skewered away and sent out of trouble by Shinoda. Again, Patrick Santiago, number 4 in white and red, 4 goals on the season. He's got 4 of his team's 7. As that is cleared all the way into the stands. And it'll be a possession and a throw-in here for Hassan Ibrahim. Looking for an outlet, gets it to the feet of Dylan Muhammad. Muhammad might have had the best scoring opportunity of the game back in the first half for Ridgefield Park. Caden Chan jumping high to get to this one, to the far side, shadowed by Connors. Gets that one deflected off of Ridgefield Park. Last will be a throw-in for Fort Lee in the far side as they will sub on. A Bridgman player coming in to begin this start of the second half. Bridgman trying to stretch their 1-goal lead here. Just doing a good job of keeping it inside here. Turnaround shot with the left foot. Not accurate there off of the foot of Caden Chan, who was trying to go for his first goal of the season. Caden Chan for his career, 11 goals, 18 assists for 40 points. Over to the near side, Venareo. His pass knocked away, now to the feet of Muhammad. Enzo Yu doing a good job of hustling his way back to win back possession. Goes wide with it to Chan. Connors knocked that one out of bounds. Chan trying to race it down. Escobar's defensive work. Trying to zero in on him as well as that goes out of bounds. And it looks like it's going to be a corner kick awarded to Fort Lee. So the Bridgemen have an opportunity here as they start to set up people down the middle of the box. Chan with the low lining service. That's going to be easily taken away. Played back as Cheng struggles with possession briefly. Deflected away. Good work here by Nicholas Ortiz, and Ortiz will also draw the foul. Been a very cleanly played game so far in this one between these two league rivals. Last game with Dwight Morrow had a lot of pushing and shoving. There's Thomas coming well out of his net again. That's what he's known for, the aggressive goaltending. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it makes things a little hairy. And it was one of those times there that he came out maybe just a little too far that time. Got bailed out by his defense, though. Here's possession being set up by Ridgefield Park. Escobar looking to go wide with it. Has a man in the far side of the box and shot right into the hands of Thomas. Thomas with at least 3 saves in this game. 5 minutes gone by here in the start of the second half. It remains a 1-0 lead for Fort Lee. On the 5th goal of the season scored by striker Enzo Yu. Here's Yu with the ball at his feet right now. To Caden Chan to the far side. Chan sidesteps the defender. Floats that one in. Initial save. Ball is loose up top. Another shot towards the net. And another save. This time by a defender. Varela made the initial stop, and then he got bailed out by his defender right behind him. As Dartley was trying to poke it forward in a wide open net that would have increased the lead to 2-0. Instead, it remains a 1-goal lead for Fort Lee. The way that the Bridgemen are playing here today, a 2-goal lead might be just enough to feel super comfortable in this one. Ball is played backwards, now at the feet of Chan. Chan showing off that fancy footwork. Now has it, gets pulled down just outside the box. And it looks like it's going to be a foul whistle against Ridgefield Park. It's going to be a set piece upcoming. And a dangerous one at that for Fort Lee just outside the box. As once again, the Bridgemen having the better of the offensive opportunities now, once again with a chance to maybe double their lead to 2-0. Caden Chan got fouled just outside the box area. If he had been fouled inside the yellow line, that would have been grounds for a penalty kick. 4-man wall setting up right in front of the near side post. Is Chan going to try to wrap this around the wall and maybe send it to the far side post area? Keeper standing in the middle. Here's Chan, takes the shot and scores! What a beauty of a finish! As he points skyward, oh, perfection by Caden Chan. His first goal of the season, 12th of his Fort Lee career. And that was a beauty of a curler. And Fort Lee doubles their lead to 2-0. That was a beautiful goal there for the Bridgemen. Caden Chan earns that free kick after drawing the foul just outside the box, and then just absolute perfection. And from our vantage point, we got to see it clearly here, how he wrapped it and curled it to the far side and away from the keeper for the goal. So Caden Chan's first goal of the season. He's got a goal and an assist on the year now. And give him 42 points for his career here at Fort Lee. The senior first goal of this senior campaign. Bridgeman trying to play that one forward and almost stepping on the ball. Now ball is loose near the midfield. Pushing and shoving there as Ridgefield Park has their player hit the deck. So a 2-goal lead now for Fort Lee. They scored midway through the first half and now scoring with less than 10 minutes gone by here at the start of the second half. Have staked the Bridgmen out to a 2-0 lead, their largest lead of any home game so far this season. They're 0-2 starting off the year here at home. Thomas nearly had that one bounce away from him right in front of the advancing Velakis. Radazolo over to the near side. Fort Lee looking for more here. Good defending by Ibrahim. Ibrahim trying to split the back line to Santiago. Patrick Santiago, he's the man to watch. 4 goals on the season, including 3 goals in a loss against Cliffside Park. Played up top to Ibrahim. Ridgefield Park trying to garner a little more possession here. Now seeing their deficit grow to 2. Enzo Yu fighting for that ball in the air. Chested forward. Here's Enzo Yu. His advance, though, knocked away. Escobar from distance. Handled on a couple hops by Thomas. Trying to work on a clean sheet. Tafalaj, the other goalie, has 1 shutout victory so far this season in that 3-0 win against Dumont. Knocked down at midfield, now trying to send it long down the far side of Chan. Chan gets to it. Chan keeping his head up, getting to Enzo Yu. Yu needed to make that play a little quicker, allowed Orlando Perez to come over and sweep it away. I think Yu was thinking about whether or not to dribble a little further or try to get that pass right back to Caden Chan. Ibrahim will knock it out of play. It'll be a throw-in here now for Fort Lee. To the feet of Dartley. Dartley curling around, saving possession up top to Caden Chan, who had that beautiful finish on the free kick just moments ago. Now going wide to Enzo Yu. Yu with a low liner back to Chan and save on the far side post by Varela. Nice give and go, though, by the 2 goal scorers here today. So with Caden Chan scoring, now 3 different goal scorers so far this season for Demba Main's side. Enzo Yu with 5 of his team's 7 goals on the season. Jinha Park and now Caden Chan accounting for the other 2 goals. Contact in the midfield, that's going to be a push against Fort Lee. Free kick coming for Ridgefield Park with 10 minutes gone by. Now 11 minutes officially gone by here in the start of the second half of play. Fort Lee trying to even their record at 2-2 on the season with a potential win here. Ridgefield Park trying to get their first win of the season if they can rally here and have some work to do. There's a shot from distance. That's a good offering. Just a little wide, though, as Thomas again plays an aggressive goaltending style. Doesn't camp back deep in his net. Was measuring that one up as it went wide of the mark and will go out for a Fort Lee goal kick. Fort Lee after this one will hit the road and will travel to Bergenfield for their next game on Thursday before coming back home to host Tenafly on the 24th. Shinoda goes the opposite side with it. Chan lets that one roll past him as Ridgefield Park will be the closest ones to it as that goes out of bounds. Will go out for a goal kick as more subs will come in for Demba Main, who's been liberal in his substitution packages to try to keep his players fresh. As it looks like Enzo Yu and Caradazola will go off the field again. Goal kick coming to the near side. Miss hit out of bounds off of Ridgefield Park glass will be a throw-in directly underneath us at midfield here for Fort Lee. Played to the midfield, but steer is going to be called for the hold against Santiago. It'll be a free kick upcoming near midfield for Ridgefield Park. Again, they put up 2 goals and a 3-2 loss in their season opener against Dwight Morrow. They scored 4 goals but lost 6-4 against Cliffside Park. And then were held to only 1 goal in their last game. They were ahead 1-0, but surrendered the game's final 2 goals against Mawa in a 2-1 defeat. This is the second of 3 consecutive road games on the season for the Scarlets. They will next be traveling to Dumont on the 22nd. Dumont were one of the 3 teams that Ridgefield Park defeated a season ago. Here's Santiago taking the shot, kicked away by Thomas to the near side. That goes out of bounds. That'll be a corner kick, but that has been the most dangerous shot of the game here, produced by Patrick Santiago of Ridgefield Park. 14 minutes gone by here in the start of the second half. So corner kick taken to the near side. Now aiming it, Mohammed trying to park out in front. Ball is loose in front, and there's a deflection and a goal by Ridgefield Park. It just kept on staying loose out in front. Nobody for Fort Lee was picking up defensively, and we have ourselves a brand new game. It's 2-1. As the Scarlets have had the better of the play since Caden Chan's free kick goal. I don't know what the sense was there deep in their own defensive end for Fort Lee, but nobody was covering the ball. It just kept on bouncing around, and then eventually a garbage goal in front by the Scarlets, and we have ourselves a brand new game. It's 2-1. Still plenty of time left to go in this game as well for Ridgefield Park to mount a comeback, as we're still 5 minutes away from the midway point of the second half. Both teams have scored once apiece here in the second half of play after Fort Lee led 1-0 at halftime. Free kick opportunity here for Fort Lee. Long ball in front of the box, headed forward by Ridgefield Park. So now the Scarlets with a little life and a little momentum on their side. Mohammed just a little too far to get underneath it himself. Shinoda had done a good job of bodying him off the ball. Couldn't tell who officially got credited with that goal. It might have been Oscar Escobar poaching out in front. Here's Escobar with a long ball, trying to get it on the line to Mohammed. Fort Lee with a nice long ball down the other way, and Connors does a good job of shouldering off the advance of the attacking Fort Lee player. Now the midfield, a lot of contact between both players, and now a whistle, as it looks like initially it was going to be the call against Fort Lee. So a free kick upcoming here for Ridgefield Park. 24 minutes remaining in this contest. 2-1 the lead for Fort Lee. They led by as many as 2 after Caden Chan's beautiful finish on a free kick. But now Ridgefield Park just scoring moments ago to cut the deficit in half. That pass doesn't find anyone looming, and the other end goes out of bounds. So Ridgefield Park has scored at least 1 goal in every game so far this season. They have not been shut out, and that will continue to be the case. And Benjamin Thomas will have to restart play here with a goal kick. Enzo Yu chips it forward. Try to track it down himself, but it's going to be a little too long for him. Out of bounds. Throw in here for Ridgefield Park. Mohammed into the midfield. Now Santiago lurking in, takes the chip shot, saved by Thomas, and he'll dive out in front to prevent another follow-up attempt. Fort Lee's defense getting a little shaky here in the last couple of moments, leading to opportunities and good shots on goal here for Ridgefield Park. 1 goal away from deadlocking the score at 2-2. Last touch off of Escobar will be a throw-in the far side for the Bridgemen. Connors being instructed by the official on the far side to come back to his position so that he could throw it in from there. Santiago again, the lone striker up front. Gets Fort Lee to knock that out of bounds to the far side, so it will be a throw-in at midfield now for Connors. DeAngelis had lost possession. Ridgefield Park setting it down the far side of Santiago, trying to go 1v1, gets around that initial defender, still loose in the box, and gets that deflected last touch off of Fort Lee, so a corner kick earned. Now on the far side. Again, Santiago and Ridgefield Park now brimming with offensive confidence after that finish on their first goal of the game after a scramble in front off of a corner kick. Steered away by Ryan Steer. Followed up, and another dangerous chance, and Fort Lee's got to wake up here a little bit. This game is far from being over as we're just coming up on the midway point of the second half. It is a 2-1 advantage for the Bridgemen. But Ridgefield Park is playing an inspired brand of soccer right now, and they're generating the better offensive opportunities over the course of the last 10 minutes or so in this game. Steer. Fort Lee doing a nice job. Trying to send it over to the far side and then miss hit over to the near side as a response by Ridgefield Park. Throw-in upcoming now for Fort Lee. Fort Lee, who participates in North 1 Group 3. 22 different teams located in that playoff section. Only the top 16 with power points will advance to play in the state tournament this season. Fort Lee a season ago debuted in North 1 Group 3, made the playoffs as the number 8 seed and won a state playoff game. Nice ball to the far side. Trying to get a piece of it was Dartley. There's a shot. A weak one at that, though, from up top. Not a lot of velocity on it for Enzo Yu. Easy save for Samir Varela. Ridgefield Park competes in North 2 Group 2, which is where Fort Lee used to be a participant. 21-team field. Season ago, Fort Lee defeated Morris Hills in the North 1 Group 3 opening round, 3-2 here at the Sugarman Sports Complex in an exciting game. It was their Fort Lee's first win in the state playoffs since 2018. Earlier on in the season, they had also defeated Cresskill in the opening round of the Bergen County tournament. And for Fort Lee, it was their first soccer victory in the Bergen County tournament since 2017. So a lot of milestones were accomplished a season ago for the Bridgemen that finished the season 12-7 overall. Nice turnover force. Here's a breakaway opportunity for Chan. Chan saved by Ridgefield Park. Varela made a kick save, denying Chan his second goal of the game and second goal of the season. And that keeps this a one-goal game at 2-1. As we're coming up on 18 minutes left to go in regulation. Will that be a big moment of this game that we'll look back on, especially if Ridgefield Park can find an equalizing goal? Look at Santiago's speed off the edge, trying to get around that second defender who was sliding over. Steer doing a good job of helping his teammate out. And then a whistle. It's like a foul from behind by Santiago and Ridgefield Park. So Caden Chan had beaten by his defender, was streaking in one-on-one with the keeper. Varela came all the way off his line and made a kick save on the low shot attempt by Caden Chan. Chan with one goal this afternoon along with Enzo Yu. There's a foul with a push in the back against Ridgefield Park. So gradually moving up the field after back-to-back whistles is Fort Lee. 2-1 lead for the Bridgemen. 17 minutes left to go here in the second half, as the sun starts the set here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Set piece headed forward by Escobar. Played to himself by Ortiz. Ortiz is run over. He draws the contact and the whistle. Free kick upcoming now for Ridgefield Park. Scarlets a season ago qualified for the North 2 Group 2 sectional playoffs. They lost in the opening round against Bernards. Played over to the far side. Here's Chan. Chan's had a lot of the possession of the ball here in the second half. Focarodi playing it over to Chan to the far side. Yu makes his run down that far side flank. Tries to chip it off of the defender, but cannot do so as that deflects just harmlessly out of bounds and out for a goal kick. Last season, Fort Lee advanced to the quarterfinals of North 1 Group 3 state playoffs, but lost to Ramapo. Chan maneuvers his way, gets knocked down in the process by Oscar Escobar. Possession will stay with Fort Lee. 15 and a half minutes left to go here in the second half of play. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, Mike Rachapi here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Broadcast coverage again of all home sporting events here in the fall season for the boys and girls soccer seasons here, and then our coverage going to be coming up on the girls volleyball season over at East Gymnasium on the campus of the high school at Fort Lee. This is right in front and right adjacent to the Lewis Cole Middle School. Muhammad, good ball. Dangerous ball. That Santiago pushes it forward. It slides its way in, and Ridgefield Park has fought back after being down 2-0 to tie the game at 2-2. A misplay once again. I don't know what the defense was thinking for Fort Lee, as Muhammad just played that forward and Santiago just kept on coming and eventually slithered that one into the back of the net, and it's a completely brand new game. Looked like this game was completely in control of Fort Lee, but Fort Lee has now surrendered 2 consecutive goals to Ridgefield Park. Patrick Santiago scoring his 5th goal of the season in this game after Dylan Muhammad had just won a foot race to win possession. So Fort Lee has squandered a 2-goal lead here in the second half, and now it's anybody's game with under 15 minutes left to go in regulation. Defense kind of took their foot off the gas here in this game, and once they were up 2-0, they've been playing like they've just been playing not to lose rather than win. And Ridgefield Park, the more aggressive side, that aggression has been paid off with 2 goals. A rebound finish on a corner kick, and that was just a hustle play. And Santiago slithering that one by Thomas, who had come off his line. And again, was trying to be aggressive and trying to come out and cut down the angle. Now Ridgefield Park is looking for more. They're looking to potentially take their first lead of the game, as they're trying to fight and claw their way to a dramatic come-from-behind victory here. Again, it's been 17 consecutive wins in this series, dating back to 2012 for Fort Lee. They have not lost to Ridgefield Park in a decade. They were seemingly in control here, especially after Caden Chan scored early on in the second half to double the lead for Fort Lee to 2-0. But Ridgefield Park have fought back valiantly and now have tied this game at 2-2. Long ball sent down the other way, and that's going to be handled by Varela. And let's think back to that save that Varela made in point-blank opportunity on Caden Chan when Chan was close to making this a third goal of the game for Fort Lee. Sent down the other way, handled on one hop by Varela as he'll roll it over down to the near side. Steer has that one deflect off of Muhammad, back to Steer. Played forward to Dartley, too long for him. So again, how does Fort Lee bounce back? We were wondering that to lead off this broadcast after that demoralizing loss in double overtime with 1 second remaining in their last game against Dwight Morrow. They got off to a good start, opening up the score with an Enzo U goal. Here's Enzo U now in the box. Blockered away. So now it's going to be a corner kick and an opportunity here for Fort Lee to recapture the lead. Add a little momentum in this game and lift their morale. Ranazzolo playing it alongside Chan, leaving it for Chan. Play to the edge of the box here. Caradazzolo, chip shot over to the near side, nobody lurking. And Ridgefield Park had plenty of time, but then just decide to jettison it out of bounds off of the foot of Venereo. Not a surprise there. You playing it wide. Trying to play it back to the near side, and Ridgefield Park plays it up to space to Santiago. So both Patrick Santiago and Enzo Yu have scored their 5th goals, respectively, in the season. Enzo Yu trying to jockey for possession. Can't win it. Perez doing a good job of defending. Here's Reyes now playing it up top. To the far side, Ridgefield Park trying to make it 3 straight goals in this second half. Trying to flip the script from a game ago when they opened up with the first goal of the game but then surrendered the last 2. They gave up the first 2 of this game but have now scored 2 straight themselves. 10.5 minutes left to go in the second half. Out of bounds. It's going to be a throw-in now for Ridgefield Park. Yu up to Chan. The 2 goal scorers today. Now leaving it over to Enzo Yu. Yu getting contacted right outside the box. Tries a centering ball. Not high enough to get up and over the head of the defender. Again, kicked away. Good defending inside the zone. And Connors pokes it free. 10.5 minutes for another goal here for Fort Lee. Trying to win this in regulation. Over to the near side to Dartley. Trying to get it back to Dartley, and Dartley can't get to it in time. As that goes out of bounds to the near side and will be a throw-in here for Ridgefield Park. Scarlets in search of their first positive result of the season. They're 0-3 this year. Fort Lee 1-2. This already their 3rd home game of the season for the Bridgemen, but they've yet to pick up a win. That's going to be whistle against Fort Lee and a free kick upcoming now for Ridgefield Park. Right now the clock is frozen here at the stadium with 10:31 left to go. Played over to the far side for Caden Chan. Aerial ball just a little too high and wide as that goes out. So as they confer with the referee, the clock will be kept on the field, it seems like, by the referees now, as the scoreboard is frozen. 7:55 left to go. As the referees are going to tell both of the coaches. 7:55 remaining here in regulation as the clock froze on the scoreboard. As we get it back to play. Fort Lee trying to advance up the field. Played over to the far side by Chan. Zolo doing a good job of pressuring Connors to kick that out of bounds. Now it's going to be a throw in here. Ridgefield Park trying to get to it. Santiago stepped off. Again, clock being kept on the field right now by the officials. Have to think under 6 minutes left to go in regulation. 2-2 the score. Fort Lee and Ridgefield Park. Scarlets have rallied from being down 2-0 to produce the last 2 consecutive goals of this game. Nice move there by Fort Lee, setting the ball long to the far side right in front of the Fort Lee bench. Keeping it in play was Caden Chan. Chan has the last goal of the game for the Bridgemen. Focarodi now leaving it off to the far side. But Fort Lee just can't keep it in play. A turnover there. Over to the far side. Kicked forward. Varela will handle it. Again, because of a scoreboard malfunction, time being kept officially on the field by the officials. Under 5 minutes, we assume, left to go here in the second half. At one point in the second half, Fort Lee led the game 2-0. Ridgefield Park has battled back, though. 2 unanswered goals by the Scarlets have drawn even. Now a foul whistled at midfield after there was a tie-up of sorts. Ortiz was left in pain, and a whistle and a foul charged against Fort Lee. Free kick upcoming now for Ridgefield Park near midfield. Ridgefield Park sending their players forward as they'll have this free kick set up at midfield. In the waning moments of this second half, are we destined for overtime again? Knocked down by Caden Chan. Ridgefield Park playing it forward. Chan playing it wide to Zolo. Again, too long for him, goes out of bounds. Ridgefield Park will have to throw it. That'll be possession now for Fort Lee. Time running out here in regulation. Bridgman trying to find a way to get back the lead, not squander the 2-goal advantage and have to go to overtime. Ball loose in the box, gets to Dartley. Dartley takes the shot and just missed an open net. Naoki Dartley, the junior, number 7, had flicked it past the defender and the advancing goalie. Had what seemed to be a wide open net and tried to take it inside the near side corner of that net, but just missed it wide. Eerily similar to a shot opportunity by Enzo Yu in the first game of the year here against Paramus Catholic that would have tied the score at 2-2. That one would have given Fort Lee a dramatic lead here with less than 3 minutes left to go in regulation. Instead, we remain tied at 2-2. Last game went to double overtime for Fort Lee here at home, and with 1 second remaining in double overtime, 1 second away from being a 1-1 tie, Dwight Morrow scored a dramatic goal. Fort Lee seemingly had this one sewn up. But that's why you play to the final whistle, and Ridgefield Park, credit to them. They've been outstanding. Now Enzo Yu trying to have the dramatics here at the end. Centering ball, it's a good one, and that's mishit. Focarodi had more time to set and fire, and he tried a one-timer, hit it off the side of his foot. That caroms out of play, so now Fort Lee has generated 2 outstanding goal-scoring opportunities late here in regulation, but have nothing to show for it. And Ridgefield Park is moving closer and closer to forcing extra time. That goes out of bounds. Be a throw in here for Ridgefield Park. Santiago trying to get around Steer and does. Santiago, the leading scorer for this team, nutmegs the defender through the legs, tries to curl it through, and he'll earn a corner. And now Ridgefield Park is thinking a dramatic come-from-behind victory here in what we expect to be the final minute of play. Scarlets have never led in this game, trailed by as many as 2. Curling ball headed away on the near post by Chan. Sent back in. A collision ensues between Santiago and the keeper, Thomas. Worley trying to send as many players forward as possible. Escobar sends that one forward. Chang misplays it, falls down, gets pushed down now. Focarodi stood up with the possession in the midfield. And the horn will sound, signaling the end of regulation. So for the second consecutive home game, Fort Lee will have to go to overtime to find a result here in a big North American Division showdown. It's 2-2 the score. Fort Lee answered with the first 2 goals of the game. Ridgefield Park answered right back with 2 goals to force overtime. So stick around as we'll be right back for the first 10 minutes of overtime here on YouTube. So we get to the first overtime here, 10 minutes. Sudden victory. Next goal will win the game. If there is no goal after the first 10 minutes of play, we'll go to another 10-minute overtime session. If there's no goal there, then this game will end in a tie. And that would certainly leave a bad taste in the mouth for Fort Lee after they were seemingly controlled by 2 goals in the second half here at home against a team that they have bested 17 times in a row. As Ridgefield Park will start with possession. They are in the white, Fort Lee in the black, gray, and orange. Santiago heads it to the wide side. His goal was the goal that tied this game up at 2-2. Trying to get it to him to the far side before it could go out of bounds. It does go out of bounds, though, and that'll go out for a goal kick. In their last game against Dwight Morrow, Fort Lee had a chance on a game-winning goal in overtime that rang off the crossbar. Eventually, Dwight Morrow would score their epic goal with 1 second remaining in double overtime to have the dramatic walk-off win. Now Caden Chan to the near side. Chan had his first goal of the season early on in the second half. Ball's loose in the box, down to Enzo Yu. Yu gets to it. Yu takes the shot and just bends it a little too high in the upper right-hand corner. And since this game has been tied 2-2, that would be the third different prime goal-scoring opportunity that has fallen to the feet of Fort Lee, and the Bridgemen just have not been able to convert. Naoki Dartley had a wide, empty net when he popped one up and over a defender's head, and he missed that. Had another shot opportunity as well just before the end of regulation for Fort Lee that didn't find the back of the net. And now Enzo Yu missing what could have been a game winner. They get it to the feet of Yu. Back to Dartley. Dartley over to Yu. Near side, takes the shot and pinballed away. I think with the initial kick by Yu, that was going to go wide at the far side post, but the defender didn't want to take any chances, raced in after it, and cleared it out of harm's way. So a corner kick set up now for Fort Lee. Bridgemen trying to cap off here this win, get their first win of the season here at home. Granazzolo, low liner service, and again, that has not been to the benefit of Fort Lee today. Ball's left in the box to Dartley. Left behind, Ridgefield Park clearing it away. Fort Lee has had more success when they pass the ball in the air rather than on the ground. Sent long to the far side, kept in play by Fort Lee as it was about to roll out of bounds. And that time it is sent skyward to the far side off the foot of Oscar Escobar. Escobar, I believe, was the man who was credited with that rebound finish on the first goal of the game by Ridgefield Park. That gave them life. That gave them hope. And eventually Santiago would cash in on the tying goal. They try to find Santiago at the midfield. Finds a way, despite being held up, to draw the contact and the foul. Free kick upcoming for Ridgefield Park. A team that had won 3 total games a season ago. Wins against Dumont, Teaneck, and Dwight Morrow. Trying to snap a long losing streak that dates back 10 years against Fort Lee, and do so here on the road. Chan heading it forward. Yu in hot pursuit. Yu tries to take it for a run down the near side. Yu moving it now to the far side of the field. Nice knockdown there by Chan. Chan playing it forward. Fort Lee building it up, taking the shot, missing it wide though. Goes out for a goal kick here for Ridgefield Park. Ridgefield Park taking their sweet time before getting this goal kick, which has been handled by a couple of defenders all afternoon long. Steer the midfield. Caradazzolo. Kicked forward by Escobar. He's been impressive in that back line as leader of the defense. Here's Chan. Going to the near side, Caradazzolo. Shot from distance, blockered away. Chan popping that one up. Little miscommunication, goalie was off his line. Fort Lee had a prime opportunity again, couldn't cash in. 4:45 and counting left to go here in the first overtime. Loose out in front. Can Caradazzolo get to it in time? No, he loses the foot race. Clearing it out was Perez. Muhammad losing possession. Caradazzolo can't keep it in, goes out of bounds. Missed opportunities here for Fort Lee. They had some outstanding opportunities late in regulation to win the game 3-2. They've started off this first overtime dominating possession once again on offense, but once again missing on some prime goal-scoring opportunities, trying to get that elusive third goal and win in overtime here at home. Trying to split the back line. Yu was making his run. Defender stepped up. Played to the far side. Sabo. Stolen away by Fort Lee. Good job of defending there to track back possession. But again, that last touch betrays him. Knocked out of bounds by Ridgefield Park. Fort Lee with a throw-in. Dartley, good ball. Fort Lee getting around that last line, but they can't save it before it went out of bounds on the goal line. 3 minutes remaining in the first overtime. Even a tie in a situation like this would feel like you left something on the table if you're Fort Lee. The way that you've been playing and have been dominant at stretches in this game. Crossing ball, again, off the mark and goes out of bounds. 2:24 left to go in the first overtime. Again, if there's no goal scored here, there'd be a brief stoppage and then a resumption of play with a fresh 10 minutes. And then if there's no goal decided then, it would be a tie. Dartley. Shinoda. Yu sets and fires, and ambitious effort. Got the deflection though. So that earns a corner kick now to the far side for Fort Lee. Coming up on 90 seconds left to go in the first overtime. All the action's been on this side of the field. Chan. Caradazzolo. Up top to Chang. Chang fires! Just was a little wide of the mark to the left side. Freshman was trying to look for his first goal of his high school career and be the hero here at home. One minute remaining here in the first overtime. Ball down the near side wing, and Fort Lee is going to have to clear that out of play because of the advance of Dylan Muhammad. The junior has been exceptional at bringing the pressure down this near wing. It was his pressure that eventually led to the tying goal by Santiago. Every game, it seems to be Corrado in the midst of something. He was not giving the ball back to Ridgefield Park, who have been trying to get an opportunity for a last-ditch attempt here on net. Fort Lee will pop that one straight up in the air. And we will be headed to a double overtime situation here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Still tied up at 2-2 between Ridgefield Park and Fort Lee.